Hello, everyone. This is Roman Polnar, and welcome to Food for Thought, a series of conversations with entrepreneurs, professionals, thought leaders, and philanthropists in the Jewish community. And today I'm excited to have a conversation with Aaron and Michael Bellings of Bellings Brothers Real Estate, who built one of the most successful real estate teams in San Francisco. As Bay Area natives and third-generation real estate professionals, they're going to share their stories, their insights, and experience to help homeowners and investors get good deals on properties and share their journey to becoming the #1 buyers team in all of San Francisco. But first, a quick word from our sponsor. This series is brought to you by Hebrew Free Loan of San Francisco. Hebrew Free Loan is a nonprofit that provides interest-free loans to help Jewish individuals in Northern California overcome financial challenges and pursue life's dreams. Hebrew Free Loan has been supporting our community with interest-free loans for over 125 years. And this series of conversations is another way to offer resources and support because each person we're speaking with has real-world experience and they volunteer to share their insights that may help you navigate whatever you may be facing in your own life or in business. All right, so now let's get started with our show. Michael and Aaron, welcome to Food for Thought.
Thank you, Roman. It's a pleasure being here. It's an honor. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
Well,
I love it.
The honor is all mine. And I was just saying this to you guys before we started recording as I was looking over your website. And, we've known each other for a long time, but it always helps to get a refresh look. And I just want to get through some of these accolades. You're the #1 buyers team in San Francisco from 2019 to present, #2 team, and overall homes sold in San Francisco, and over 500 properties. You were named 30 under 30 for Realtors in America, and both of you were named 2017 Rising Stars. I mean, all of this, I'm sure, doesn't happen overnight. Talk to us. How did you become this #1 buyers team and 2 overall team in all of San Francisco?
Yeah, a lot of gray hairs, I think, is how it happened. No, I'm kidding. Well, thanks for having us, and it's an honor to be here. We started our team in 2013, Aaron and I, and we're San Francisco natives, as you said. So we call ourselves unicorns because there's not many of us left here that grew up in San Francisco. And as you mentioned, we're third-generation realtors, and we're really humbled. Actually, our grandpa was an engineer. He used to build bridges in World War II for the Allies, actually. And after the war, he built properties in New Jersey, and our grandma would sell them. And at the time, she was in the $1 million club where he sold over $1 million a year, which is funny to us now because the average price in the Bay Area is well over $1 million at this point. She got the little gold jacket, and she was an absolute dynamo of the time for a woman in real estate. So we're really proud that we came from our grandma was the first generation. And then our dad has been a realtor for about 40 years. And Aaron and I have had our team for about 11 years. And we actually started at a local boutique company in the Mission District of San Francisco at Vanguard Properties. And it's funny looking at our old headshots. We laugh now. We had these giant suits on and, just bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. But, we quickly became the youngest top producers of the company's history. We absolutely loved working there. We got a great breadth of experience from kind of the southern area of the city, which is really new money, tech money area of the city. So think like Mission Noe Valley. And then the last 5 years, we've been at Compass. And Compass is the #1 brokerage in America and San Francisco. And we were actually kind of early adopters of joining Compass. And it's been kind of a rocket ship the last 5 years at Compass. Yeah.
That being said, you know the old adage, Rome wasn't built in a day, right? Nor was the Bellings Brothers real estate team. I was, I think, 26 years old. Michael was 23 when we first got into real estate. That feels like a very long time ago. And it's really, there's obviously no one simple, easy answer on how you build a $700 million real estate business, but it was through a level of passion, hard work, obviously, that's the #1 thing. We'll dig a little deeper into that. And then just local knowledge. So one of the things that I think, credit our success with early on is that we took the mindset of we were going to do it. We were not going to miss a phone call. We were not going to miss an open house. While all of our friends were out at Dolores Park, on a beautiful Saturday afternoon or at their mimosa brunches, Michael and I were at open houses. We worked 50 out of 52 weekends. And when I say weekends, I mean I'm working Saturday 2 to 4, Sunday 2 to 4, and sometimes I'm doing an 11 to 1 in Noe and then a 2 to 4 in Pack Heights. I mean, there were weekends where we were working 3 to 4 open houses each, and we made a lot of sacrifices along the way. Like when you work that much and you work that many hours and you sacrifice the weekends, it was really nice to see the business start to grow and start to flower and start to flourish. But it took about 5 or 6 years, I would say, before we hit what we call the tipping point, where, in real estate, you're always, prospecting, you're always calling people, emailing people. And then at that 5 or 6 year mark, once we had built a really strong foundation of a business, our phone started ringing. And that's when like you've hit that tipping point and that ball's starting to roll downhill.
Yeah, it was kind of like pushing a giant boulder up a hill, Aaron, I would say, for 5 years. And then I think one day we looked at each other, maybe year 5 or 6, and the snowball happened. We're like, oh, this is what we've been waiting for.
The first time your phone rings and someone's like, can you sell my house? You're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I can't believe this is finally happening.
But it really sounds simple, but we've had so many mentees and realtors come and go, and they always come to us and say, how did you do it? How can I do it? And, we asked, what did you do this weekend? And they said exactly what Aaron said. We're out at Mimosa Brunch. And we said, well, we sold 750 million in real estate, and we were at an open house, 12 to 4. So it just kind of gives you an idea of how hard you have to work. And I know this is not like rocket science or anything super creative, but the harder you work, the luckier you get. That's kind of been our motto since day one.
And it wasn't always sunshine and roses and rainbows. I mean, there were some empty open houses where you're sitting there for 2 hours and not a soul walks in, but you got to be present, and you just have to be there, and you got to play to win, and you got to be present to win. And one of my favorite stories that I like to tell about one of the slowest open houses I ever worked, I was in, Lower Haight, for 2 hours on like a Wednesday night. It was one of those twilight tours. I had my wine, I had my cheese, but I didn't have a single soul come to visit me for an hour and 55 minutes. And I kid you not, with 5 minutes left in this open house, in walks this guy, paint covered overalls, Birkenstock sandals, torn t-shirt. And in San Francisco, that could be a tech billionaire, or, that could be the guy that just got off the job site painting the house next door. But, treated him like royalty, was present. We instantly found a connection from our growing up in San Francisco. He actually runs a boutique store that I was very familiar with. And fast forward over the course of the last 5 years, meeting the one guy at the slowest open house, we've sold him probably, I think, 4 or 5 homes at this point, and sold 3 or 4 of those 4 or 5. So it's transacted about 20 to 25 million in real estate from an open house where I ended up eating most of the cheese. So, you never know what's going to happen, but if you're not there, it's not going to happen. That's as far as we know. But some of the competitive advantages that Michael and I bring to the table is like being locals. Every block. Yeah. Like I know that AT&T Park used to be, or was it Oracle Park now? Was just at the Giants game last night. It used to be a rock quarry. I remember when Mission Bay didn't exist. It's like all these sorts of things. So you got to know the past, you got to know the future, you got to know exactly every block of the area where you're a subject matter expert. And that makes a huge difference.
Yeah. And that doesn't mean you have to grow up in your market to be successful, but do the work and put in the work to know every block. I mean, in San Francisco and wherever you're listening from in Northern California or the statewide, you can go 1 or 2 blocks in a different direction, and the values of a home could be skewed by $300,000. And so all the times we have these out of town agents come in and they kind of overpay for a property because they didn't know that, okay, this part of Lower Nob Hill is actually the Tenderloin versus, Upper Nob Hill. So that's where like being a local expert is so important. No matter the industry, work with the local expert in whatever city you're in, because we always joke, anyone that tells you they can sell in San Francisco, the Peninsula, Oakland, Santa Barbara, they're probably not the best realtor because they're not experts anywhere.
Right.
Well, I feel like the things that you've covered like so far, and I want to keep talking, I don't want to interrupt, but I just couldn't help but reflect on the fact that other than a couple of particulars, like hosting an open house or like knowing the properties block by block, like everything that you just talked about that contributed to your success can literally apply to just about any business, any professional, anybody that wants to, reach a height in their own career. And a couple of things that you said that I just really want to to highlight once again is he's like doing the hard work. It's amazing how many people like, what's the shortcut from like the start to finish? And it's a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
And then being experts, just knowing whatever it is that your craft or your profession requires. I just love that you brought those points up, because I hope a lot of our listeners who are also business owners or aspiring entrepreneurs that are, getting loans from Hebrew Free Loan, I hope that this is going to help them in their own way when they're facing like some of these challenging moments, when whatever the equivalent is of sitting in an open house with 5 minutes to go and nothing is happening. And then there's that tipping point.
A lot of cheese and wine. A lot of cheese and wine.
Listen, there are worse ways to spend, 2 hours than have cheese and wine to yourself.
And I think it's also a level of love and a level of energy and enthusiasm that you can bring to your job. I mean, we're in sales, so obviously like having that energy just naturally is going to help in a sales role, but just loving what you do. Like, you know what they say, when you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. And I get that now.
Yeah, and Aaron,
I've been doing this for 10 years.
And Aaron, we're cited for our energy and enthusiasm. It's something we learned early on, right? Do you want to, Roman's a financial advisor, we're realtors, but whatever industry you're in, do you want to be sitting at the table with someone and, hey, yeah, no, your house is great. Yeah, we'll sell it. It's like, no, be excited, be passionate, right? Be present. You want to be with someone. We always tell our clients, like, do you want to have a fit where you want to go get a drink with someone or have a meal with them? You really want to feel that energy and feel that passion, because no one wants to spend time or sell their most valuable asset with someone that's, you should tell your story, Aaron.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, like the time that I showed up to an open house with a couple of buyers, we were out touring on the weekend, and we show up to the gate, we ring the bell, nothing happens, knock on the door, nothing happens. Then all of a sudden this like beat up car sitting in the front driveway, door opens, and I kid you not, like 6 soda cans fall out, bags of chips. I think there's like a McDonald's bag, this and that. And some agent in a t-shirt and sweatpants goes, "Oh, are you here for the open house?" And I was like, "Yeah, are you?" And it ended up being the showing agent for this particular place. And I just felt so bad for these sellers. Like, do you know this person who's representing you and representing your home? So even just looking the part, showing up, being present, being enthusiastic, it's all these little things. It's all the little details really come together that I think I can attribute like a lot of our success to. But it wasn't always. Michael, you should tell us a little bit about like the business planning piece, I think, too, because that's something that we're really passionate about also.
Yeah, so I'm an over preparer. I'm such a planner. I'm like a geek that loves business plans, where I think most people don't. And it's amazing because our business plan started, it was like, 15 pages, right? 100 different activities on it. And again, it's not rocket science. It's like, if you do these 100 activities, you will be successful in real estate or whatever industry you're going for. But 95 of those activities we absolutely hated, right? And you're not going to be successful or win or be able to do this job 24/7 like we do if you're doing 100 different activities you hate. We don't like cold calling. We found that out pretty quickly. We don't love door knocking. Aaron and I purchased 500 door knockers. They had our faces on them. You put them on the front door. We went out to the Richmond district in San Francisco. We walked like up and down 3 blocks. We probably got the door slammed in our face like 12 different times. A couple people were like,
we don't want what you guys are selling. We're not selling anything. We're trying to sell your house.
Yeah, exactly. We were like trying to make connections. It was really great. Like we got thick skin from it. And, it was a really good practice learning how do people say no and slamming doors in your faces. But long story short, we haven't door knocked since. I got like 450 door knockers. If anyone wants them with my face on it, you're welcome to pass them out for me. But they're in my basement. We found out that door knocking was not for us either. And that's where we really excelled, like Aaron's talked about, in open houses and also just creating relationships and creating a referral-based business. Obviously, you can't start out day one in a referral-based business, but that's where that snowball I was talking about really came into play. So I won 30 under 30 Realtor in America, which is a huge honor. And you know what I do? I go to that conference every year with alumni. I talk to the 30 dynamo agents in the rest of the country from that alumni class. So I've met now, think like 30 different classes of 30 people. I've met hundreds of people through this network, through our Compass network, through the Hebrew Free Loan Network, through Temple Emmanuel, which we're very involved at, but creating relationships, being involved in something you're passionate about, and it will lead to business. And now I have, if anyone calls me, anyone on this call that needs to buy a home in Bend, Oregon, I got the best agent in Bend, Oregon for you. And I can successfully, refer my clients to the number one agent in that area. And obviously I give, and that will eventually come back. But creating these relationships have been so invaluable to us that's really been a part of it as well. And going back to my business plan, it's now 2 pages. And we found, the 10 activities that we love to do. We again, I'm a geek, so I even go further on it. I used to have like the days of the week, when we would do it, when we would time block it, the frequency of how we would do it. And I swear to you, if you have that business plan and you have activities that you love to do, and you can make yourself accountable, like, hey, I love doing this, so I'll be able to do it. If I don't love doing it, I'm not going to do it. So put it off your business plan. If you stick to that routine and that business plan, you will become successful. I promise you that. And that's what happened with our business plan.
So I love the intentionality that, like, I'm picking up on this, because we've never had this conversation, at least not in this context. But I've known both of you for some time, and you both seem to have different personalities. So Aaron, you've been quiet. Now, are you also like this, let's do this by the business plan, or do you guys bring different aspects to your business?
So that's a great question. And it's funny you picked up on that. Michael likes to, be the little bit of a chatterbox, but it's always good stuff. I'm here to rein him in a little bit, but, I let him do his thing. We do bring complementary skill sets. In college, like a million years ago, I have a background in finance. That was my career path originally. Michael has a background in marketing. That was his career path originally. And those are frankly 2 aspects to any business, let alone real estate. But when you're looking to buy or sell a home, like the numbers and then the marketing, like those are the 2 most important aspects of selling a home. And I think those are 2 of the most important aspects when it comes to starting a business in general. So it's a great point. It's like part of what makes Michael and our team so dynamic is complementary skill sets, but it's also an accountability piece. I mean, not everyone has, a brother that's a similar age, that's a similar skill set and like things like this. So we're very fortunate in that regard, but finding somebody, so like, I'm not a marketer. Like, that's not my strong suit. So if Michael wasn't that guy, we would have went and got out and hired somebody. Or maybe you find a partner that does have that complementary skill set, whatever it might be. But no, I share an unbridled enthusiasm for real estate. I love running and operating my own business. We've been entrepreneurs at heart ever since I was selling Beanie Babies, out in the front yard when I was in 5th grade. I mean, I bought my first car buying and selling Beanie Babies growing up, and lemonade stands. Like, Michael and I were staples of the neighborhood. So that it was in our blood, that we were born to sell, and we love selling homes. We love our city, but we did get lucky in that regard, that we do have good, strong complementary skill sets.
And people like that. Aaron is more stoic, I would say, and I'm a little bit more Energizer bunny. But no one can do the numbers like Aaron can. And I hope no one can do the marketing like me, but it really does bring a good complementary skill set that I think is important across whatever industry you're in.
Well, I can imagine it's particularly important for your business, because just how much goes into, it's like, successfully buying or selling a home for somebody. There's just a lot of work. It's like, I don't know, I always think about this and like imagining like an iceberg, right? Like what you see, like the success aspect, or like the final, the transaction itself, people moving in, you give them the keys, and that's the stuff that you see, right? Like that 90% of the work beneath the surface that nobody sees. Like, I want to talk a little bit about that. I know you shared some fun stories. I wonder if there are others, but did you have some challenging moments as you were kind of ramping up and building your team and building your business, when you just kind of scratched your head, and despite all this background in entrepreneurial, like, what are we doing? Like, have you had any of those moments?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. And those are not as fun stories, because the other 99% we're not talking about was banging our head against a wall. You can do all those prospecting activities I talked about, but it doesn't mean anyone's picking up your phone call or answering your email. One of the first open houses I ever did, and we actually haven't talked about this, Aaron, but the first open house I ever did, someone said, "Wow, you look like you must be in high school. You selling this place?" That was before my beard, before my glasses. And the next
before the gray hair.
way before the
Exactly.
gray hair. So the day after, I actually took my contacts out, put on glasses, grew my beard, and I didn't get that comment again. But what I'm telling the story is that first open house, I met this buyer. And, when you first start hosting open houses, you're hosting like a top agent in the area's open house. So it wasn't my listing. I'm just there helping him out for the weekend. And, people that come in, you meet them and you hope to represent them to buy that house. So a young couple comes in, we have a great connection. I'm writing their name down, writing notes. I'm super excited. Oh my God, I'm going to get my first sale. This is amazing. So, do all that, have a meeting with them the next day. And then I call them 2 days later. I'm like, all right, we're ready to write this offer. And they're like, well, Michael, we already wrote the offer. We wrote it with our agent. We sent it to the listing agent where, the open house was you were. And I think we're going to get our offer accepted. So little did I know.
I'm having like heat flashes over here remembering this story. Oh my goodness.
Little did they know, they thought I just worked for the listing agent and I was kind of there shepherding along. And I thought I was going to be representing them on the buy side. And I was not involved whatsoever. So I worked about, 6 days on helping this couple out, doing everything right that I needed to do, and nothing came from it. And it was quite the experience.
And I think that's a good lesson for everybody to learn, is that we never made that mistake again. Now we ask people explicitly, you look them in the eye and you say, do you have an agent you're working with? It's one of the early on questions when you're, getting to know a potential client. And I think if you don't make the same mistake twice, then it's okay. Like, I've locked myself on a roof deck one time. I've locked myself in the basement one time. Michael had a client write an offer with somebody else because they thought he was working for the listing agent one time. But we've made those mistakes. And obviously over the course of 11 years, you make a couple of those, but luckily none of them have really, or I'd say none of them have negatively impacted clients, but more just growing lessons for your, fellow realtors here. But there was the time also where Michael and I were going to deliver keys down in Sunnyside. And I kid you not, this is a 100% true story. We get there like 5 or 10 minutes before our clients get there, gather all the keys, super excited, lay everything out on the kitchen table. Then we run out to meet them at the front door. And just as we're exiting the house, the gate clicks closed behind us and we had all the keys left in the kitchen. So I, at that point, then hoisted Michael, we're in full suits, mind you. I did take my blazer off for this. Hoisted Michael into a second-story window so he could shimmy in, go run in, grab the keys, unlock the door, let me in. And the second he opened that gate, clients pull right up and there we are, smiling faces. That was the last time we ever left the keys on the kitchen table too. So
they're like, why are you heavily sweating? We're like, it's been a long day.
We're so excited for you guys. That's why just all the sweat.
So, all right. That's funny. All right. So you talked about making mistakes, but you only make them once. And I love that. But as home buyers or home sellers, we're usually not involved in nearly as many transactions as you guys are. So maybe this is a good place to shift gears a little bit and pivot to talking about, like, what are some common mistakes that you might have seen, people make when they're looking to buy or sell a home that you could help them avoid making? Or maybe these are some just good advice, like do these things and you will do better. Like, let's talk about the people you work for and work with.
Yeah, I think it's great segue. And Michael and I mean, Roman, I think you know this by now, just from our dealings. Where I love that you're getting to learn a lot about us today, by the way. But this part you do know, and it's something that Michael and I live by. It's called the 3 F's. We tell all of our clients, it's got to work for your family, it's got to work for your future, and it's got to work for your finances. So when people ask us, is it a good time to buy? Is it a good time to sell? Is it a good time? The first questions we always ask are, does it check the boxes for the 3 F's? Mm-hmm. Because if you're doing the right thing for your family, your future, and your finances, you can never make a mistake. I mean, obviously the things are easy, like, work with a local expert. Like Michael said earlier, don't work with the guy that covers East Bay, North Bay, South Bay, San Francisco. Like, you want a local expert, subject matter expert that has relationships, that knows their stuff down cold, that knows why that house directly across the street that looked the same sold for $500,000 more or less.
Well, so, Aaron, going off that, I think people just try to game it, right? Like is it the perfect time? Right. You could ask the smartest person in the world, is now the perfect time to buy or sell this house? and they won't know. No one has a crystal ball. Obviously, we can give you all the economic factors that could tell you why it's a good or bad time to buy. But as long as you satisfy the 3 Fs, then in an appreciating market, in a solid market like San Francisco, the Bay Area, or other cities we could mention, as long as you satisfy the 3 Fs, it will be worth more over time. So you don't have to worry about the exactly perfect time to buy or sell, because that's impossible.
And I mean, like, all places are different. Every situations are different. Every price point's different. Like right now, it's a great time to buy places without parking. Why? Because buyers are being very picky. They're taking their time. If you want a condo south of market right now, you are literally going to be buying it at a price that somebody paid in 2015 or 2016. So like, that's an incredible opportunity. Does that mean it's a good time for you to buy a Soma condo? Like, not if you want a single family in Noe. It's like, yeah, you might save a few bucks, but if you're going to be miserable there, then that's not the right move. But we love opportunities right now for basically just anybody getting their foot in the door. Like when you're renting, obviously rentals, we always say, are 100% of an interest rate, and over 4 or 5 years, like, rents can eat away at your savings. But it's obviously easier said than done, especially markets like San Francisco and the greater Bay Area, where they're very unfriendly first-time home buyer markets. But what's happening right now, especially in this shifting or changing market, or however you want to define it, there are opportunities for people to put like 5% down. Like, we helped a firefighter a couple of months ago. He put, I think, 6 or 7% down, got a single family home. He cried when we delivered the keys, and we kept a firefighter in San Francisco that didn't think that it would be possible. So there are those opportunities. You just have to know where to find them. You know, it's easier said than done, like I said, but it's also not impossible.
Well, and Aaron, in this shifting market, like 2 years ago, when the market was on fire, that you all read about, offers that did have 5-10% down were not getting accepted.
Right.
There's Mayor's Office of Housing Loans, or the down payment assistance program. When there's 12 offers on the table and 10 of them are paying cash, they're not taking a Mayor's Office of Housing or a 5% loan. But in this kind of slower shifting market that we're experiencing, the opportunities for non-traditional financing for people that aren't multimillionaires that are putting 5% down, those offers are getting accepted. And I guarantee that extrapolates further than the Bay Area, wherever you're listening from. So don't be afraid to talk to your broker, your financial advisor, about non-traditional financing, because now is the time you can actually do that. And it's so exciting for us. Teachers, firefighters, you know, early on in our career, when the market was skyrocketing, those offers weren't getting accepted. So it's really fantastic for us to see. We absolutely love it.
Multifamily too. I think, you know, it's always the dream to buy one unit, live in it, rent out the other unit, collect rent from it. And right now, those are possibilities. Like, the multifamily market is ripe for the picking, and you may be able to qualify for more if you can get some rental income out of another unit. So the key is not being afraid. The key is just to start, have that conversation with your local expert, have the conversation with your local lenders, and then obviously working with professionals. They know great professionals too.
Yeah, and I think the biggest mistake, going back to your question, Roman, is people buy the prettiest house on the block, or the one with the gorgeous marble countertops and the nicest paint color you've ever seen. It's like, please don't focus on that. You know, if you have a good realtor like us, we have the best painters in the business, the best contractors. We can change the floors for you. We can change the kitchen counters in literally like 3 to 7 days. But you can't change the location. It's very hard to change the square footage and floor plan. You can't pick up the house and move it. So buy location, buy the ugliest house in the block. I guarantee in a market like San Francisco, where everyone's busy professionals and they don't want to do work, you can save so much money by buying that ugly kitchen and ugly bath, but it's on the best block in the city. Go after those opportunities, and I promise you'll be thanking yourself down the road.
Yeah, I love how you guys just zoomed out when I asked the question and just talked about the 3 Fs, because I can't help but think, like, in the back of my mind as I'm listening to you, you got to do everything for the right reasons, right? And if the why is big enough, and if it's the right why that you're answering, like, it's not about the bottom line appreciation. It's not about the interest rate. It's not about when is the right time to buy. You're making a decision that's right for you, your family. And I love that you did that. But you know, it's also good to zoom in a little bit. And for the record, we're recording this on Wednesday, July 26th of 2023. Like, we are in a different market that we were 2 years ago. But I think that's also true no matter, like, when people are going to listen to this going forward. It's always going to be some kind of a shifting
Right.
market. There will always be something taking place. And I think that's the reason, again, I want to come back and spotlight the reasons why you mentioned working with a local expert, because they know the trends that are just like these micro trends. And I appreciate that. If there's anything else that you guys want to mention, this would be a great time. But as I want to save a couple of minutes before we end to pivot and talk a little bit about your involvement in the community. I know you give a lot of your time and your knowledge to the Jewish community, including Hebrew Free Loan. But before we go into that, is there anything else you'd want to mention, either for folks who are looking to buy or sell personally or as investors?
Yeah, I think Michael and I we always love to talk about like, what's our secret sauce, right? Because all the real estate agents they're all very similar. There's a lot of professionals out there. There's a lot of good Compass agents. There's a lot of bad Compass agents. There's a lot of us. There's 5,000 in San Francisco, if you can believe it or not. But we always like to say, like, Michael and I, we work 48/7 because there's two of us. So we get twice as many hours in the day as the next guy. I can help you with things like evaluating good investments. So I love working with investors where, they say, I have X to spend and I want X return. And then I get to go out and find it for them. So like that gets my finance mind going and gets my juices flowing. We treat you like family. That's not only our team slogan. You'll find that on all of our marketing. You'll find that on our website, but it's also our mantra. We do treat you like family. And sometimes we have to specify the family that you like, because, not everyone loves their brothers as much as we love each other. But we always like to say we treat you like family.
I think also, Aaron, sorry to jump in, is like, we're not your average real estate agents, and there are people like us out there, but we're more than that. We have condo converted properties in San Francisco. We've built foundations. We've built garages. We've widened garages. We've added a story on top of a house. We've literally done everything as it involves to real estate. And some people, the soccer mom and soccer dad profession, they sold one house here and there to their friends. That's kind of the old adage of real estate agents. That's not what it is anymore. This is the most competitive market in the country. You have to be sharp, you have to be on it, and you have to have those experiences. We've literally done tenant occupied properties, non-tenant occupied properties. You name it. Aaron and I showed up once, and we closed on the house, and the guy's brother decided to move in during escrow and was living in the garage. And on the day we closed the property, like no joke. So like we've literally dealt with everything as it comes to planning, permitting. It's so complicated. This is not the profession that it used to be that you think of. It is so different, especially in a really competitive market like San Francisco.
Yeah, I think it always comes down. I always remember the story of the time that we were in Bernal Heights and we were door knocking. This was a client of ours that wanted to buy this house. It had to be this house. So we're like, okay, we'll go check it out. We'll knock on the door for you. Just going above and beyond for your clients, like, any good business owner would do. We knock on the door, and I kid you not, the largest shirtless man I have ever seen in my life opened the door with a pit bull. He's holding the chain back like this dog would have eaten us alive. And I kid you not, I was scared for my life. But after about a very amicable and lovely 10 to 15 minute conversation, he didn't want to sell his house, but we heard from him a few months later, and he sent us his friend to help buy. So I think it just shows, you got to be present, you got to put in the work, and you got to take some risks too, to a certain extent. I mean, no guts, no glory. And if we hadn't knocked on that door, it wouldn't have led to another purchase down the road, which, helps build that foundation. But like Michael said, we've been through it all. And I think that just, taking it in stride and just figuring it out as you go, but just always doing right by your client. Just like, that's got to be the number one rule. You can't be attached to the outcome. You can't be attached to a paycheck. You just have to do the right thing every step of the way. It's how we were raised. It's our, good Jewish upbringing that, taught us these things, and we've lived by it, and it's served us well ever since we started our team together.
And I'm glad we didn't get on $1 Million Listing season 2 in San Francisco, but we were interviewed 3 times for it. We met with producers. We did one of the goofiest audition videos that you'll ever see. That's not leaving this.
That's been buried.
Yeah, that's been buried.
Dr. Stowe couldn't get that one.
Yeah, they canceled $1 Million Listing season 1 in San Francisco, but we were going to be on season 2. So I'm sorry, folks, you don't get to see it, but maybe one day.
Well, they get to see you in this recording, or if you're listening through the audio only podcast, it's just a matter of time, I'm sure, until there is a San Francisco $1 Million Listing. And I'm sure we'll see the two of you on it front and center.
So I think Selling Sunset, the San Francisco version, would be a lot colder and foggier, a lot more sweaters, a lot less high heels, I have a feeling.
Well, this is it's a great conversation because I think we've already covered how you've built your business. And I just want to ask and go back. When you said you were 5,000 agents within Compass alone, is that?
No, 5,000 realtors in San Francisco.
In San Francisco.
The city of San Francisco. Yeah. Not even the great
7 by 7 miles.
Yeah.
Got it. And when you say you're number 1 buyers team and 2 overall, is that for the Compass or that's for all of San Francisco among all the 5,000 different realtors?
That's correct. So Michael and I have helped more people buy homes in San Francisco than any other team in the city of San Francisco since 2019. And that frankly goes back into half of 2018 also. And then being the number 2 overall team means we've helped more people buy and sell homes than any other team in the city except for one. And we don't say this to gloat, like we still pinch ourselves. We still every day get up motivated. We want to be number 1. We're number 2. We want to be number 1 of the 5,000. And that, that just keeps you going. And like I said, just doing the right thing every step of the way. And then seeing the success that comes along with the hard work that's what fills my tank every morning, I would say.
Well, I love it. And the fact that I like that 48/7, but you got to leave some time for all the good work that you're doing in the Jewish community as volunteers and as lay leaders, because I know that you give a lot of your time outside of your work. So let's pivot a little bit and tell us about what is your connection to Hebrew Free Loan and why did you choose to support and join the business circle?
Well, one of our really good friends, we actually kind of built our businesses together side by side. He's in another industry and he got a loan from Hebrew Free Loan and he told us all about it. And he's very successful now. And we were blown away. Without that loan from Hebrew Free Loan, who knows where he would be today or the success that he's now had because of that loan. And he was the first one that kind of introduced us. And we were like, oh, let's what's going on here? We went to a mixer, we met Cindy, we met you, we met Jamie, we met all the wonderful people, part of the organization. And we just absolutely fell in love. And we're now on the events committee. And I think where we found our niche is, we're the younger generation and we're doing our best to get younger folks and the younger generation involved in Hebrew Free Loan and spread the word about what it is. Because I think a lot of people don't know about it. And so we're doing our best for the next generation, letting know how they can get involved, how they can come to events. And that's really, really how we started. And we've loved it.
And the young demographic, the young professionals of San Francisco and the Bay Area that are involved, we're not the deepest pockets right now. But we are the next wave of folks that will be doing the tzedakah, that will be donating the, big chunks and, all that kind of good stuff. So it gets us motivated to help out as best as we can. So we've been on the events committee and I think the marketing committee for, 5+ years at this point. And they love it. They love us when we bring the energy and enthusiasm and we try to help with the tech and, just the way that younger people think and what we want to see and like what do young people want to see at the gala. I'm going to keep calling myself young as long as I can, Roman, so don't kill me here. Not 40,
only if you can include me in that, only if you can include me in your group of young people, then absolutely.
I love it.
You're as the youngest person on the podcast, I'm taking offense to this. Now, and I wanted to say we recently joined the business circle too. And we're so glad that we joined and we're among amazing different companies that are part of the business circle. And we're just so happy that we're in it now.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sorry, and just real quick, I'd be remiss not to mention my 7 years on the Young Adult Leadership Committee over at Emmanuel as well. That in conjunction with Hebrew Free Loan, I like to think that I help bridge that gap to bring Hebrew Free Loan into that circle and organization and get younger people excited there. So anyway, it's been very fulfilling and I'm glad we're part of the business circle now and love sharing our insights.
Well, and we certainly appreciate all the work that you've done in our community and the help that you're lending to Hebrew Free Loan in the business circle. And I can't help but think back a couple of years when it was your dad that helped us get one of our keynote speakers for the business circle luncheon, where Craig Newmark of Craigslist came to speak to all of us, which was such a great conversation in and of itself. And he's such an interesting person, but it all happened because of this connection that you guys were able to bring forth to the community. So I don't know if you want to mention a word or two about that, but that was wonderful. And we really appreciate that.
Yeah, well, of course. I mean, it's connecting Hebrew Free Loan with our dad. That was an easy conversation to have, of course. But the Craig Newmark piece, I mean, that guy is fascinating. Like Craigslist was started in a condo in Cole Valley, if you can believe that.
And our dad went to his bar mitzvah, which is just
right.
like so funny. You never know. Everyone out there, remember the bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs you went to. Someone might have created a billion-dollar company and share their insights with the rest of Hebrew Free Loan Luncheon. So
a couple of good New Jersey Jewish boys that did well and made their way out to the West Coast and happen to still keep in touch. And yeah, I just love it. So I love that.
And I'm amazed at who's come through Hebrew Free Loan, right? I mean, I'll go to like the ice cream shop or this shop. I'm like, oh, these are Hebrew Free Loan recipients. And it's just such a great community, and seeing the different businesses that I frequent that they got a loan originally. It's pretty cool.
It's like seeing a local celebrity when I'm like, oh, Hometown Creamery. Like, I know those guys. Or,
they're amazing.
It might be. Yeah.
There's a shout out to Hometown Creamery. There you wonderful.
Go. Good ice cream.
I love your energy. I love that you're bringing and tying in all these connecting all of the dots, I would say, in our community, and both through your work and outside. So I want to thank you both for taking some time, being with us, supporting Hebrew Free Loan, just doing really good work in the community. And just so before we wrap up, I wanted to see if there's anything else that you want to leave our listeners with.
First, I'm flattered. First of all, thank you so much for having us. Being a part of the not only the Hebrew Free Loan community, but being on Food for Thought. Like I get a little fanboy every time I get to listen to one of these, and now I'm actually on it. So so thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, Roman, you've been amazing in the community like that. We could talk for a whole podcast about that. So we look to you and have tried to follow what you've done in the community. And so we're really honored to be a part of the journey with you. But I think I just want to leave people with, we love helping people out as best as we can, whether they're getting started in real estate, San Francisco, like whatever it may be. We get calls all the time, emails. We're happy to help with anything that anyone needs, advice. I'll tell you not to get into real estate because of these gray hairs, and I'm kidding. But like any advice anyone needs, we're open books, and we constantly tell realtors our secret sauce, and we're on panels, and whether you listen to it or not, it doesn't always happen, but we're open books. We don't keep anything a secret. So we're here for anybody.
And I think you hit the nail on the head too, Roman. Like, we love being connectors. So like, obviously, like helping people buy and sell real estate, that's the easy connection to make. But I think there are our Portland guy and our Seattle girl and our Chicago girl and our LA guy that we've sent like a ton of business to. So if you ever need help anywhere in America, like, we'll connect you with somebody we know, like, and trust. But obviously, if there's anything we can ever do to help anybody with any of their home stuff, like, it doesn't even need to be buying or selling. Like, I want to be the guy that helps being good, like your local neighborhood realtor, right? So any way you can connect the dots, you need a good plumber, whatever it might be, we're your guys.
Aaron, Michael, where can folks find you?
Yeah, great question. You can find us at bellingsbrothers.com. There's an S on Bellings and an S on Brothers. People get that wrong. So bellingsbrothers.com, find all of our information. Follow us on Instagram at San Francisco Homes is our Instagram. Find us on facebook.com/bellingsbrothers as well.
Well, awesome. So folks, we've been talking with Aaron and Michael Bellings of the Bellings Brothers Real Estate, the #1 buyers team in all of San Francisco, and I am certain soon to be #1 team overall. We talked about building a top producing team, giving back to the community, and of course, we talked about real estate. So if you are looking to buy or invest in San Francisco, now you know who to call. And if you're listening to us from outside of the area and you want to meet the top producing experts in your area, now you also know who to call. And I'm certain Michael and Aaron will be glad to connect you with somebody that they know, like, and trust. So folks, again, on behalf of Hebrew Free Loan and the Business Circle, Michael, Aaron, again, I want to thank you both so much for being with us. And thanks to all of our listeners. Be well, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks all.